Okay, good morning students, everybody. Long distance transportation of water, translocation. Trans means change, location means place. Change of place from one region to another region is called as translocation. The translocation in botany is defined as the long distance transport of substances like water and food material. And this long distance transportation takes place in bulky way, bulky manner, mass manner. So the bulky transport of substances like water and food material to the long distance is called as translocation. Now, if you see the absorption of water by the plant, this is the transfer section of the root. The root in transfer section shows the following layers. The first one, epidermis. This is the epidermis and epidermal cells. And the second region is the cortex. These are the cortical cells. The third region is the endodermis. These are the endodermal cells. Next, the last one, vascular bundles, xylem and phloem. Now, the epidermal cells absorb water. Some of the epidermal cells gives off the hair-like projections called as root hairs. These root hairs absorb water. Now, if you see the water in the soil is having higher water potential, and the water in the cytoplasm of the root epidermal cells is having lower water potential. Always the water moves from higher water potential to lower water potential. Now, the water from soil enters into the cytoplasm of the root epidermal cells. This is from higher water potential to lower water potential. Higher water potential in the soil, lower water potential in the cytoplasm. This is called as osmosis. Now, osmosis is an active transport or passive transport. What is the active transport? Active transport is the movement of substances by using energy or ATP. Passive transport is the movement of substances without using energy or ATP. Now, in order to uptake the water by the epidermis, do epidermis is consuming any energy or ATP? No. By osmosis only the water is entering. As the mineral ions present in the cytoplasm of the epidermal cells are in much higher amounts, these many number of mineral ions are acting as solutes. These many number of mineral ions are acting as solutes, thus the water potential is low. So, by diffusion the water is entering, so the absorption of the water by the roots is passive. This is important. Passive absorption of the water takes place. Passive, not the active. This is very important. Now, after entering into the epidermis, the water crosses the epidermis and enters into the cortex region. Now, these are the cortical cells. The space that is present in between the two cortical cells is called as intercellular space. Next, the water crosses the cortex, next enter into the endodermis. The water crosses the endodermis and enters into the xylem. So, the xylem is the main conducting channel for the water. Now, translocation is defined as the long distance transport of substances in a bulky way. Now, here the water has to be transported from roots to the tip of the stem. Now, in order to translocate to that much heights, the diffusion is not sufficient. So, diffusion is a very slow process. It can occur to very short distance. Now, if you see the rate of the diffusion, rate means speed. The speed of the diffusion 50 micrometers per 2.5 seconds. That is very slow. The speed of the diffusion is very low. 50 micrometers per 2.5 seconds means it will take approximately 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours to travel a distance of 1 meter. So, the diffusion is taking the time of 2 to 3 hours to travel a distance of 1 meter. So, diffusion is a very slow process. As diffusion is a very slow process, in order to translocate water from roots to the tip of the stem, the plant is utilizing two types of forces. One is the root pressure and another one is the transpiration pull. These root pressure and transpiration pull we will learn after these points. Now, xylem. The xylem contains water, minerals and organic nitrogen. We know that xylem contains water and minerals. This organic point is the organic nitrogen is the additional point. You have to remember. Xylem not only contains water and minerals, organic nitrogen. Don't confuse with organic. Organic also coming in phloem. So here organic means food materials. So don't confuse with the organic nitrogen. Organic nitrogen is exceptional xylem. Next, phloem. The phloem conducts food materials. Which type of food materials the phloem is conducting? Organic and inorganic solutes. So xylem is conducting water, minerals and organic nitrogen. Phloem is conducting organic and inorganic solutes. These organic and inorganic solutes means, what is meant by these inorganic solutes? The inorganic solutes means it may be the ammonia. What is meant by organic solutes? Organic solutes means glucose, starch. Glucose, starch comes under organic solutes. Ammonia comes under inorganic solutes. Next, apoplast and symplast. Apoplast. What is apoplast? Is the non-living component of the cell that is present in between the two cells. Apoplast is the non-living component of the cell that is present in between the two cells. So apoplast is present in between the two adjacent cells or in between the two adjacent cell walls. Now, the transport through apoplast is called as apoplastic transport. Now, if you see the cortex, here the water is crossing the cortex through intercellular spaces. Here in the cortex region, the water is not entering into the cortex cells. But in the epidermis, the water is entering into the cytoplasm of the epidermis. In endodermis, the water is entering into the cytoplasm of the endodermis. But in cortex, the water is not entering into the cytoplasm of cortical cells. The water is traveling through the intercellular space. So, the apoplastic pathway of water we are observing in the cortex region, cortex. Now in xylem also, now if you see the xylem is also dead tissue. Xylem is the dead tissue. It is made up of tracheids and vessels. As xylem is the dead cell, the protoplasm. Now this is the schematic diagram of the transfer section of the root. This one, schematic diagram. Epidermis, cortex, endodermis, xylem. Now as the xylem is the dead cell, the protoplasm of the cell gets exhausted, degenerated. Now after degeneration of the protoplasm, an empty gap is present inside the cell or inside the cell wall of the cell. Now through this empty gap, the water is conducting inside the xylem. The conducting cells of the xylem are called as tracheids and vessels. The tracheids are found in gymnosperms, vessels are found in angiosperms. The conducting cells of xylem in gymnosperms are called tracheids. The conducting cells of xylem in angiosperms are called vessels. Now, as there is no protoplasm, an empty gap is present inside the xylem cell. This empty space is also called as apoplast. So apoplastic pathway is observed in cortex and xylem. Cortex and xylem. Next, symplast. Symplast is the living component of the cell, that is the protoplasm of the cell. So if the water is traveling through the protoplasm of the cell, that is called as symplastic pathway. If the water is transporting through the protoplasm of the cell, that is called as symplastic pathway. Now, if you see the water in the epidermis, the water entering into the protoplasm of the epidermis, that means in epidermis, the water is following the symplastic pathway. Next, in endodermis also, the water is entering into the protoplasm of the endodermis, that means the water is following the symplastic pathway. So symplastic pathway of water is seen in endodermis and epidermis, epidermis and endodermis. Now, let's see the movement of water. First, water enters into the root hairs. These root hairs are directly connected with the protoplasm of the epidermis. It will come out of the epidermis. Now, the transport of water in the epidermis is symplastic pathway. Next, the water coming out of the epidermis and crosses the cortex. Here water is traveling through the intercellular spaces. So the transport of water in the cortex is completely apoplastic pathway. Apoplastic pathway of water is seen in the cortex. Next, endodermis. If you see the cells of the endodermis are compactly arranged without intercellular space. So in between the two successive endodermal cells, intercellular space is completely absent. Whatever the intercellular space that is present in between the two endodermal cells is deposited with a waxy substance called as suberin. These waxy depositions or these suberin depositions that is present in between the two endodermal cells are called as Casparian stripes. Casparin, Casparian stripes. I repeat, the waxy depositions or suberin. Suberin is a type of wax. The suberin depositions that is present in between the two endodermal cells is called as Casparian stripes. Now, because of the presence of the Casparian stripes in between the two endodermal cells, the water cannot pass through the apoplast, that is intercellular space, because intercellular space is completely filled with suberin. So what will happen? So after the cortex, now this is the epidermis, water entering in the protoplasm, this is the cortex, water passes the apoplastic pathway, this is the apoplast. Now the water enters into the protoplasm of the endodermis. This is the protoplasm of the endodermis. This is the Casparian stripes. Now in this schematic diagram of transverse section of root, these regions are the protoplasmic regions of the cell. Protoplasm of epidermis, protoplasm of cortex, protoplasm of endodermis, protoplasm, actually xylem. Protoplasm is absent, no protoplasm. And these regions are the apoplast. Apoplast of epidermis, apoplast of cortex. Now here the apoplast is deposited with the Casparian stripes. Now after reaching the endodermis, water enters into the, now from apoplast of the cortex, this is apoplast of the cortex, from apoplast of the cortex, water enters into the protoplasm of the endodermis. Now this is the protoplasm of the endodermis. How water enters into the cell? Through these gaps. What are these gaps? These gaps are called as plasmodesmata. So what are plasmodesmata? Plasmodesmata are the communicating gaps or cytoplasmic connections. So the cytoplasm of the endodermis and cytoplasm of the cortex are in direct contact. So plasmodesmata are the cytoplasmic connections that are present in the cell wall, or that is present in the cell wall of two cells. I repeat, plasmodesmata are the cytoplasmic connections that is present in the cell wall of two different cells. Plasmodesmata are the cytoplasmic connections or the gaps that are present in the cell wall of two cells or in the cell wall of adjacent cells. So in between the two cells, a gap, through this gap, the cytoplasm of the two cells are in direct contact. So plasmodesmata are these cytoplasmic connections through which the cytoplasm of the two adjacent cells are in direct contact. So through this plasmodesmata, the water enters into the cytoplasm of the endodermis, and through the same plasmodesmata, the water will come out of the endodermis and enters into the xylem. Now, as we have already discussed, the xylem is a dead cell. Protoplasm is degenerated, completely degenerated, exhausted. So, as protoplasm is completely degenerated, empty gap is present. The empty gap is called lumen, L-U-M-E-N. So, water in the xylem moves through lumen. So, how water enters into the xylem? Through the protoplasm of the endodermis. So, if you see the protoplasm of the endodermis, the protoplasm, this is the nucleus, the central point is the nucleus. Now, the cytoplasm always rotates around the nucleus. The cytoplasm of the endodermis always rotating around the nucleus. This rotation of the cytoplasm around the nucleus is called as cytoplasmic streaming. So what is cytoplasmic streaming? The rotation of the cytoplasm around the nucleus is called as cytoplasmic streaming. Now, this cytoplasmic streaming helps the water to move from here to here. The cytoplasmic streaming helps water to move from here to here. That means cytoplasmic streaming plays an important role, or the cytoplasmic streaming is acting as a motor force or driving force to move water from cortex into the xylem. I repeat, cytoplasmic streaming plays an important role in acting as a motor force to move water from cortex into the xylem. Next, tracheids are the xylem elements found in the gymnosperms. Vessels are the xylem cells found in angiosperms. Next, mycorrhiza. Mycorrhiza is a symbiotic association. What is symbiosis? Symbiosis is an animal association where the two organisms live in close association with each other and the two organisms are mutually benefited from each other. So symbiosis is an interspecific relation. Interspecific means the two associated organisms belonging to two different species. So mycorrhiza is a symbiotic association. Now in this symbiotic association, the two organisms are, one is plant and another one is the fungus. So the fungus is making a symbiotic association with the roots of plants. Mycorrhiza is the fungus that is making symbiotic association, with the roots of the plants. That is called mycorrhiza. Now example, pinus. The pinus belonging to the gymnosperm, the roots of the pinus is showing symbiotic association with the fungus called as mycorrhiza. So mycorrhiza is the symbiotic association of fungus with the roots of the plant. Pinus, P-I-N-U-S, pinus. Now the pinus seeds germinate only in the presence of the mycorrhiza. That means only in the presence of the fungus. If the fungus is not present, the pinus seeds cannot germinate. That means the association is obligatory. So here if you see the symbiosis is classified into two different types: facultative symbiosis and obligatory symbiosis. Facultative symbiosis means, facultative means temporary. The association between the two organisms is temporary. The symbiotic association between the two organisms is temporary. That means if you separate the two symbiotic organisms also, the two symbiotic organisms will live independently. That is called facultative symbiosis. Obligatory symbiosis means if the two symbiotic organisms are separated, they cannot survive or live independently. So the symbiotic association is permanent. If the symbiotic association is permanent, that is called as obligatory symbiosis. Now the association between the pinus and the fungus is an obligatory. So if they are separated, they cannot live. Why? Because pinus seeds can germinate only in the presence of the fungus. If fungus is absent, pinus seeds cannot germinate. That means the symbiosis is obligatory. Now this mycorrhiza, why we are studying under the long distance transport of water means, here the fungus is showing fungal hyphae. These fungal hyphae are the filamentous structures that increases the area of absorption of water, thus helping in the absorption of water by the plant. So the mycorrhiza is playing an important role in the absorption of water. How mycorrhiza is playing an important role in the absorption of water? The fungal filaments called hyphae increases the area of absorption. As area of absorption is increased, water absorption is also in higher rates. Thus mycorrhiza is playing an important role in the absorption of water. That is called as mycorrhiza. Next one, I have already told you, translocation. For the long distance transportation of water, diffusion is not sufficient. So the plant is utilizing two types of forces. One is root pressure and another one is the transpiration pull. Now root pressure. What is root pressure? Root pressure is the positive pressure. We know that the roots absorb water passively. By diffusion, the water enters into the cell. Water enters into the roots. When large amount of water enters into the root, the positive pressure will develop inside the root. This positive pressure inside the root will lift water to some heights in the stem. This lifting